I mean, let me just say that the basics are still critically important.
Sure.
Right?
I mean, in
Diet,
the pyramid
sleep, exercise,
of everything, like you're not going to get away with much if you're not taking care of those things, right?
100%.
Yeah.
So, I feel a moral obligation to tell people a few basic things, which are the same things that you've talked about and written about in your career. Sleep is fundamental, right? Matt Walker, UC Berkeley, brilliant thinker here. He wrote a great book called Why We Sleep. I commend it amazingly. And if evolution could have gotten rid of a single hour of sleep, the advantage of a subpopulation of humans that slept 7 hours versus 8 hours is huge. It hasn't. We need 8 hours of sleep. And, I used to brag when I was in medical school about being good on 5 or 5.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm bragging about hitting 8 hours every night. And, do that with a great eye mask, with taking the temperature down to 64 degrees, having a cooling mattress, and really getting to sleep at 9:30 and waking up at 5:30, just that consistency. And not watching TV. I actually put on an Audible book with a timer to go off in 15 minutes and get read a bedtime story.
Mm-hmm.
On diet, again, fundamental. For me, it's a whole plant diet. I've gone vegan, I've gone keto. I'm back to sort of a whole plant with some Mediterranean sort of fish and eggs.
Mm-hmm.
And then intermittent fasting for 18 hours and then eat for 6.
You do that every day?
Every day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, let me say, I do cheat occasionally with the kids on a Saturday morning, but I try not to.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, right? When you are doing intermittent fasting, I have incredible amount of energy. And people would think, well, I need the food to fuel me and so forth. When I eat food after I've been fasting, it pulls the blood into your digestive system, and it makes you lethargic, like on Thanksgiving Day. And then, of course, exercise, fundamental. And again, you know more about that than I do, but I try and take almost every meeting I possibly can as a walking meeting, or a walking phone call, or a walking Zoom. So I try and get my 10,000 steps in a day, and then I do a heavy weight workout twice a week and light weights the other days.
Yeah. Well, you look great.
I feel
You're
great.
like, you're 60?
I'm 60. I feel like I'm, I have a mental image of 28.
Uh-huh. And there is that, I mean, David Sinclair talks about the difference between the biological clock and the kind of, what does he call
chronological
it? Chronological. Yeah. So where are you on that scale?
So, David, when we wrote our book Life Force, we say David Sinclair has 2 ages. He's chronologically 53 and his biological age was 33. It was like, holy cow, that's amazing. I'm 60 and 49 and a half.
Right.
And so I'm going to keep trying to get it down as far as I can.
And where are you at in terms of some of the Sinclair protocol with the NMN and the metformin and rapamycin and all of that kind of stuff? Because it seems like there's some
there's
debate.
Still controversy.
There's an ongoing debate as to the veracity of all of that.
So I'm all in. Actually, no,
course.
I'm probably a 9 out of 10. I'm not a toe-in person. See, I jump and then figure out how to build a parachute. So where am I on that regard? I'm taking probably about 50 supplements a day.
Wow.
I'm on a gram of metformin, right? Metformin is a very cheap medicine. It is a medicine, you need a prescription for it. And it's also known by the name glucophage. And it reduces access to glucose in the bloodstream and the cells. It's thought to impact the mitochondria. It's one of the safest drugs out there. It appears there's a large study that Dr. Nir Bergeli at Einstein Medical School is working on right now, that metformin, from the data he's looked, extends your life. It reduces the prevalence of cancer, and it's got very low impact. I'm then taking a number of other supplements from quercetin to turmeric to
antioxidants,
exactly.
Anti-inflammatories,
and I'm supplementing my testosterone. Right, I think that's a really important thing that people need to realize. Our bodies were never designed to live past age 30.
Mm-hmm.
On the savannas of Africa 100,000 years ago, you'd go into puberty at age 12 or 13, and you were pregnant by age 13 or 14. And then by the time you were 28, your kid was having a kid.
Yeah, grandparents in your 20s.
And the worst thing you could do to perpetuate the species was steal food from the mouths of your grandchildren. And so you would die. You'd give your bits back to the environment. And so there was no selective pressure to keep you in homeostasis in your 40s, 50s, or 60s because you had done your deed, you had reproduced already. And as a result, we go out of homeostasis. Our pituitary, our hormonal levels are all decreasing. And it is possible, and I think the right thing to do to optimize your testosterone levels. And the challenge is that different kinds of physicians have different sense of what's normal, right? So you might not have your doctor suggest testosterone supplementation until your testosterone level is down below 200 or 150, where you probably want it to be in the 500 to 800 or 1,000 level to really have the vitality and energy to build muscle, to have clarity of thought. So I, take 0.2 mLs, injection sub-Q twice a week. And I've thought about rapamycin. I have not started on that. Fountain Life, which I mentioned, which does all the diagnostics, has a regenerative medicine side as well. And we're working with the Buck Institute on trials and an investigational new drug around rapamycin, around stem cells, around dasatinib quercetin. These are the senolytic medicines out there. And there's a lot of data coming in. It's the early days still. But this decade is going to be magical.